Hi, my name is Donna. I'm a Sterile Processing Technician here at Southwest Washington Medical Center. I began working here about 3 months ago, so I'm still technically in training. I really like it here. There's something different every day. Sterile processing is the main part of the hospital. Without sterile processing, the hospital would cease to exist. This is a very important part of the overall picture. There are so many different aspects to sterile processing. I might be putting up instrument pans one day. The next day I might be sterilizing. I might be working in decontamination. Each day is different, so it doesn't get boring. This is my fashion statement. I have blue boots. This is called PPE, Personal Protective Equipment. And this is to prevent any fluids from passing through. Any biohazard splashes. This is in decontamination, where the instruments come down from surgery. My job is to wash, rinse, and clean everything to make sure there's no hidden debris in any of the instruments that can harm the patient. And they go through the washer. This is actually the most important step, because if any material is left on the instruments, sterilizing is really not as effective. There are items with blood, so if anyone is squeamish, this is another consideration for anyone thinking about going into this. And you're dealing a lot with any bodily fluid or blood, bone, or tissue, any biohazard material. This is a disinfectant for some of the items that can't go through the washer. I'm opening these up so they'll go through the washer this way. When they go through the washer, the water will wash. This looks pretty clean, but we still have to check everything. This is for one particular case. The doctor may have 15 pans of instruments. When they come through here and through the washer, they may get separated. So we try to keep all of the cases together. So I'm putting these numbers in each basket, so the person on the other side will know that if they're missing a particular instrument, it might be in one of these other pans. There's nothing worse than searching for an instrument and having it missing. This case card is empty. I'm checking everything to make sure there are no instruments left. This is ready to go through the part washer. This is where the instruments come out of the washer on the dirty side. They come through the washer and they're clean. I'm waiting for this to cool off a little bit before I bring it over there. Okay. It's hot. Today I'm scheduled to put up instruments. These are the instruments that come out of the washer. Technician upstairs will do his instrument count and put everything back into the tray. Once it comes through the washer, I'll bring it over here and reassemble the instruments to go back into the tray and then into the pans to be sterilized. This is the count sheet for the particular pan, and what I'm doing is matching the count sheet and putting the instruments into the pan, and when I'm finished I'll click my count sheet off in the computer, print a sheet, and then these will put up in the pan to be sterilized to go upstairs to surgery. Some may only have as little as 2 instruments, some may have as many as 50 or 60 instruments. The people that have been here for a long time can put this setup just from memory and click off everything. I'm not quite there yet. This is used for stapling. I'm going to make sure that there's no small staples left in here. So I check each instrument before putting it in the container. Sometimes there might be some tissue left in there and has to go back to decontam to get clean again. If I don't have a particular instrument to put in my pan and I need something that's missing, I'll look over on this wall. It's nice for me being new. Everything is labeled, which helps a lot if I'm not familiar with a particular instrument. I can look up here. There's also instruments in the drawers. That was the most challenging thing here, is getting to know the instruments, and I'm still learning. Okay, I finished my pan. I'm going to print a sheet. These go in here. And again, I'm taking a chemical indicator so they can tell that this is sterilized. If I forgot to put this in here, they would have to take the whole pan apart and send it back down here. It would not be eligible for surgery. Now my search. I'm going to look for a mini lap pan 5 over here and match this with the Genesis pan. I'm happy it's right on top. These are filters. This is steam heat, and these filters are in place because of the steam and the moisture. And we wouldn't want any microorganisms to wick in, so it's just another way of keeping the bad germs out. Every step along the way, I'm logged into this particular computer so they know who put the pan up. If there's an error, they know where to come. I'm also putting my initials on here. They know the pan that has been put up by me. This is an arrow to lock it. Again, if there isn't an arrow on here, they can't use it in surgery. Okay, I'll check my arrow, check my name tag on this side, check everything over here. This particular paperwork goes with the pan. Now I'm taking this over to the sterilizer. Now I'm going to peel pack a single item. There's two ways of processing instruments. There's the instrument trays and then peel pack. This is real slick. So let's see, I'll do a knife handle. This is actually an extra instrument. One particular doctor may want extra instruments, so you never know what you're going to get when the sets come down. They want it pretty, actually, so they can grasp the outside. Put on my knife handle label. Again, sign my initials. Everything that we do here has to be signed, so they know who did this. And that's ready. I was putting the instruments together yesterday inside the Genesis pan to be sterilized. The instruments are ready to go. They were clean, but they were not sterile. Now we're at the next step. This is one of my favorite stations. These are the sterilizers that the instruments go into. Sterilizing is technically the absence of all forms of any microbial organisms, any spores and viruses. In order for the instruments to be sterilized, the instruments must have steam under pressure for a certain time at a particular temperature. And when the parameters are met, the steam is removed, the items are removed, cooled completely before handling. Documentation is the most important part of sterilizing because records can be subpoenaed in court. Every single item that goes into the sterilizer has a particular number on it so it can be traced if it needs to be recalled. It has the date as well as the particular load, the sterilizer that it's going into. These are wrapped items. These are the Genesis pans. The wrapped items and any lighter items need to be on the top shelf because the heavier items have more moisture. So the Genesis pans cannot be over the wrapped items. It's very important to load it properly so they can be sterilized properly. It's important that the items aren't touching because the steam has to, inside the sterilizer, has to saturate everything, and it can't get to all of the surfaces if it's touching. Next, I'll do the peel pack items. I call this my Taco Bell holder. These are some of the items that are put up in the peel pack. These have to go on top. I'm going to sign my initials on each pan to make sure that I can certify that it's locked. And the person that put this pan up has signed their initials. Otherwise, it wouldn't be suitable for surgery. This particular pan has implantable items in it. That means that the items are going to go actually inside the patient. So I need a biological indicator package. That has the little vial in it with the live spores. So it has to go into the sterilizer. And when the spores are killed, we know that the sterilizer's done its job properly and it's met all of the parameters. This is a biological indicator. It just went through the sterilizer. It's a little vial. It contains live spores, or it did contain live spores. Hopefully the sterilizer killed them. I documented that I put it into the incubator, and it takes 3 hours for it to be incubated to know that the spores have all died. I'm going to take the scanner and I'm going to scan this load into the second sterilizer. This way the computer knows where all the instruments are in this hospital. These particular instruments are going to go into the sterilizer. Then when they come out, I'll scan them into the storage, and from storage they will be scanned upstairs when they go into surgery. The other part of my job is putting away the instruments that have cooled. Once they've cooled off, I can touch them. If I try to handle them when they're too warm, moisture wicks in. Another aspect of the job, you get a lot of exercise walking. There's variety every single day. Yeah. There's a lot of interaction too with the other employees. I'll do that. Everyone tries to make the time go by fast, and there's a lot of joking around. And I have great coworkers. And actually, I like this hospital. I would consider it one of the highest standards. And at the end of the day, I feel good. It's a nice feeling to be able to be helping people. I enjoy being here and putting the instruments up to be used in surgery. And everyone has an important job, all the way from the doctors all the way down to processing. And so I really feel good about what I do.